It's actually CNZ versus raisy now. Welcome back to week number 5 of Stage 2 of the Quake Pro League, where my name is Ketchup, joined by Flea on the desk. And we are starting to reach some more high-profile matches, you can definitely say. I think I'm excited for this one because raisy's just been on a constant tear.
Yeah.
But CNZ has been one of our more dominant from Challenger into Pro League players. So this is quite a test for CNZ, I think.
I mean, just in the past few weeks, we have seen CNZ take down Base, who just beat Cooler 3-0, and then afterwards also take down Avic. So both of these players obviously extremely high-skilled, very capable. And as you said, CNZ is really coming into the Pro League strong, making some big waves. And looking good while doing it too. So, as you said, one of the strongest challengers so far in the league, right up there with Cypher.
But going up against raisy is going to be a real test of his ability so far. You mentioned people that he's been able to take out over the course of Stage 2 weeklies. Some really respectable names. But there are few players out there more respectable in Pro League so far than raisy. Raisy is... I've used the word consistency a lot tonight. But I don't think there's a single player out there more consistent than raisy. How often is this guy at the highest point of a tournament? He's in loads of the top 4s, the top 3s, just, you know, the grand finals. You can always expect to see raisy playing at the absolute highest possible level for Quake Champions. And it's been that way since he first debuted into the scene in 2017. You know, raisy started as a massive unknown player that everyone kind of knew, hey, he's this, you know, semi-pro player of other games, and he's pretty good, and he's looking pretty good in Quake Champions. And then almost overnight, he just starts dominating. Yeah. And I mean, like, dominating people. You know, there was the legendary choke versus Rafa at QuakeCon, where raisy in his breakout LAN almost beat Rafa at his first one. Like, come on,
man. And it came
man.
down to that one railgun over on Blood Covenant. Rafa dropping down from the bridge towards Heavy, and raisy just unable to hit the shot. But as you just said, raisy, an absolute monster when it comes to Quake. Just a few weeks ago, he made it all the way up to the grand finals at Lucca, Italy, where he eventually did lose against Cooler, but surely that is a testament of his incredible skill.
It has to be. It really does, and it's safe to say that raisy is the favourite going into tonight's show, but there's plenty of opportunity for CNZ to rock up and prove us all wrong. Because he's been able to play against some fantastic players and get good results versus them. Tonight, we've clearly seen that results are not always going to be the way you might expect them, thanks to Base's performance versus Cooler just a few minutes ago. But we have got the picks and bans. We can see what the selection's going to be. The first map is going to be Blood Run. raisy gets his clutch.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, because that's
It's brave of CNZ to allow it.
Yeah, I think that raisy actually had the first ban, so maybe CNZ didn't even have the opportunity to take down the clutch.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. God damn, I am not on point today, Flea. I'm really not.
Yeah, I've got you covered, man. Don't you worry.
I blame this jumper and this hat. This hat is melting my brain. But yeah, raisy removed Sorlag and was able to get the clutch first, which is good for him. And actually, in light of that, getting clutch out of the way while he knows he's got it is also one of those potentials at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Awoken with the Galena and the Ranger, and then finally Corrupted Keep, Strog versus Anarchy. I'm just excited to see the clutch. I always am with raisy. You know, you can watch clutch at a high level, and then you watch raisy's, and it's just something else.
I mean, raisy and the Hang, they are the two players that really put clutch on the board as a viable top-tier competitive champion. So it's always a joy to watch raisy play him, and Bloodfront tends to be a map that favors the robot pretty well. And Awoken, the Ranger, you mentioned earlier, Ranger has got extreme mobility on this map, so many angles for him to use the Orb on, and up against the Galena. And then finally Uncorrupted Keep, also known as raisy's Keep for his dominance on this map back in the day. Can he still make it happen playing CNZ Strog? Going to be interesting to see.
And there's going to be shades of back in the day as he's picked Anarchy.
Yeah.
You know, what year is it when you see Anarchy on Corrupted Keep? I feel like it's always a strong pick, and especially it was when Quake Champions first stepped into the scene. Anarchy was, you know, one of the absolute toppest of the tiers.
Yeah.
But you know, most champions, if not all of them right now, are always picked for different situations. The balance is a lot more there, which is great to see. But a nice variety, I think, for sure. But we're going into our first map, Blood Run. We can see the clutch get picked immediately. We kind of get to see what raisy has in mind with it. Just to remind everyone, you know, raisy, I guess it must have been a bit of a personal experiment, but recently tried to see if he could make a new account and climb all the way up to Elite if he used just Clutch standalone.
And of course he did.
As you might expect, he managed to do it in record time, really.
I mean, one of the things that I'm wondering about, is CNZ ready for this?
I think that surely he has to be.
I mean, just about every other pro, no doubt, has experience going up against raisy's Clutch, but CNZ being a relative newcomer to the pro scene or the absolute top levels of Quake professional play, he probably doesn't really have the same idea. So I hope that he's ready and knows what he's about to get himself into, because this could be interesting.
Well, thanks to the round robin, everyone playing off against each other. This is going to be CNZ's only opportunity to do so. So we'll see how this actually works out for him. Right now, we are going to be watching CNZ first. Plenty of noise being made, and the immediate rocket actually forced him away. CNZ pretty low on the resources so far. He has been able to get himself the heavy, but he's not got a lot of stuff to save his skin. Nothing he can really spam down there, and he gets caught immediately trying to escape. raisy wise to it, and gets a fantastic little juggle there with the LG.
raisy now setting up for the Mega Health. He knows there's a pretty nice delay between the two items. Gonna get the health, make his way over to the armor as well. CNZ, what are you going to do? He doesn't have the Ghost Walk up. He's down to a sliver of health. Whoa, what?
Huh? I need to check the tapes on that one. Can someone clip it and then send it to me?
I literally have no idea what happened right there. Something went awfully wrong on raisy's end, and what? CNG just used the super shotgun at point-blank range against a target as big as Clutch, and my goodness,
I tell you what, that's not CNG's problem. He's going to be 3-1, and now he's going to be sitting on a lead right there. Rocket launcher in hand. And that SSG, it's such a common anti-Clutch answer in many, many ways. It's all about just being that large champion, right? He's big, he's easy to hit with the spread. And the bigger spread you can establish. Actually, he has an opportunity. raisy wants out. No interest. And he answers back with the shield wall. He's ready.
Absolutely. So just dipping out for a second. Out comes the shield with the LG. And he will even claim himself the Mega Health. And he just died, but before he died, he did deny the heavy from CNZ. And that very clearly played a part in the stack that his opponent had when raisy eventually did pummel down on him. LG a little shaky, but it'll be good enough. CNZ missed the final shot.
Benefit of Clutch and the instant dash. One of those champions that doesn't necessarily need to self-damage to try and escape the heavy situation. You know, raisy's his aim there was not to escape, it was to secure the frag, hence he jumped down when he felt like the time was right, but that instant air dash just makes it so easy for Clutch to get in, take the heavy, and then immediately air dash back out.
Yeah.
Should we'll see the same thing, but now he can choose exactly wherever he goes. Obviously it's noisy, you can hear it, but the trade-off of taking no damage is totally fine. raisy now, looking to establish near Mega, and I feel like this entire map has been taking place in the dead center. There has been no action anywhere else.
Pretty much. CNZ again having his Ghost Walk at the ready, and this is a strategy that probably will work best against raisy's Clutch, and that's just to go for the rails. He's got the speed, sure, but he's also got an enormous body that's relatively easy to land your shots on, so CNZ can definitely make a whole lot happen here and do a lot of damage to raisy with the railgun and the super shotgun in particular. Here we go, raisy finds him. And I feel like CNZ is a bit too slow on using the Ghost Walk right there. I've been saying it earlier, some players we've seen were really quick the moment things go wrong. They just pop the Ghost Walk, but CNZ hang on for it for quite some time, and he took a decent amount of damage in return.
He maintains the lead for now, but with the pace that raisy is currently looking at, and the fact there's no Ghost Walk, I don't know if there's any way he can survive this. Full speed ahead, the defensive rails don't land either. Would have been arguably a waste of Ghost Walk with pretty much one hit away from death in that situation too, so opts to just let it rock. Ghost Walk's available now, but can he get away in time? Cannot get the Mega, and he can't chase it down either. Here comes raisy. Another frag. And there comes the Clutch is out to play. No Ghost Walk available. It's not going to stop raisy from going in. He knows he can take this one. Lovely damage on the LG. It is returned. You know, this is Clutch we're talking about, but it's not enough to deter him. raisy still healthy. SSG misses the shot, actually. Misses another shot.
There we go.
Well, I say misses, doesn't get max damage or the damage he was after.
And raisy also has a very consistent and nice rotation going on the items that CNZ does manage to break right there. This could be the start of CNZ turning things around, but there we go. raisy just catches him on the stairs. That's a lot of damage. CNZ struggles to recover. Doesn't have any armor to his name yet, and meanwhile raisy, of course, playing the big robot. His stack, it's monstrous. Looking like the Hulk over here.
Even without the overstack. Check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't even need it to dwarf what Nyx has available to him.
5-minute warning.
Oh!
Yeah, knocked right back down. Heavy is up.
Looking for some more damage. raisy clipped
go.
by the rail. Now this is the opening CNZ's been looking for this entire time. He is pretty weak though, so raisy's always got refragging on his mind, but a nice rail, back to back, but that's max distance, and raisy using the alternative ability of the shield wall, turning it into essentially a super LG, which has a lot more range, and there's nothing he can do to escape that.
I wonder if CNZ thought that he was safe, because he had to ghost talk, he just didn't use it, and then all of a sudden, the LG, the mining drill comes out at that long distance, and you're done for. Also, props to CNZ for also using the snowball plasma. Ouch.
Yeah, that was...
zero damage coming out of raisy, just pinned into the corner.
Bit of a miscalculation there from raisy. Yeah, he was confident he could win the fight, but going in with the rockets, not landing a single hit of damage. That's just unfortunate. You don't really get to see that coming out from raisy a lot. Normally he's a lot more on the ball with it, but accidents do happen. He's going to go in for the mining drill again. CNZ feeling like he's safe, and before we can even blink, raisy is round the corner and ready to go. This constant aggression from Clutch. It's why this champion is so insanely dangerous. But I must say, CNZ has done a wonderful job of playing around it.
Yeah, and we really haven't seen raisy switch to the defensive at all. He's been more or less playing the exact same game for this entire map without deciding to slow things down or really try and play a passive game and stay away from his opponent. There we go, the shotgun. That's gonna hurt on CNZ's end. Does get out of the room alive, though.
Oh, misses the rail.
Yeah.
Punishment. Absolute punishment. He was looking for that final shot. raisy would have survived it, granted, but he would have been a lot weaker than CNZ if he got this exact same spawn. Would have been able to potentially refrag a bit easier. Still has an opportunity, but no, the air dash just to juke it. And then a point blank of his own. raisy taking these fights.
And those rails of the spawn, they help so much. Like CNZ, there's zero chance he can actually go for the refrag. All he can look at right now is trying to find some more of those small resources to get himself up to anywhere near a fighting stack. And that's exactly what he's managed to do so far. He doesn't have a rail though. Having a railgun in that situation would have probably spelled the end for raisy. But he didn't. And the robot lives to fight another day.
Even though Nyx, she is a light champion, she's just not going to come close to having the speed that Clutch brings to the table. You know, so now we have entered the slow pace. You look at raisy, he's now setting up shop, he's listening out, and now he's about to play Blood Run the way that we all know. You know, he's sitting pretty and he's just looking for that information. Running away when necessary, however, he's very confident he can take a fight here. Full speed ahead! Oh! CNZ somehow manages to survive that. Thank you very much, Super Shotgun.
Yeah, almost perforating raisy right there too. But still, 3 minutes and 3 frags rather, and just 2 minutes to work with. CNZ, this isn't easy at all. Landing a good rail though, that's a good start. That's how you start bringing it back.
In a very short space of time though, Flea, we're going to reach that stressful point that nobody likes going through. Which is, you've been patient this whole time, but now with a minute and a half left on the clock, you got to force something. Forcing something against a champion like Clutch with a stack that big and the ability to dash anywhere he wants, that's definitely easier said than done. But he has a fat stack. He just needs to try and be able to use it.
Switching off the railgun at just the wrong moment. He would have almost definitely hit that one and could have used the Ghost Talk to maybe push in aggressively, try and surprise raisy. Does he know where he is? He finds the robot, the shoddy, that will do so much damage.
Wow.
Still relatively close though, raisy taking him down nearly.
Sitting around with Mega is quite risky. raisy knows he's this weak, but 2 rails. swoops in and takes the Mega, which allows him to tank a rail to answer back. Sitting around and taking that Mega was the absolute cause of that entire frag, and the fact that he hit those miracle shots that he desperately needed. This comeback just became extremely possible. That was like a scary chase.
Rails.
Oh no, here we go. Raisy, you're not getting away with that one. Both players getting 10 frags, by the way, Flea.
Yep,
here
indeed.
we are.
Happy to see it. It's not something you see every day, so I'm very happy to see it happen right on stream. But with just 15 seconds left, just look at the stack that raisy has. Like, CNZ, he's got so much damage to do just to even get raisy to respawn. Then he's got to find him. And at this point, it's officially over and done with. raisy, using the clutch masterfully, will take home map 1 Blood Run.
I just checked out the winter-themed skin that raisy's rocking.
Gorgeous. I like that he is in the spirit. He's feeling the festivities, and I'm happy to see it.
But ultimately, what we saw there from Clutch is, you know, Clutch can sometimes be known as a defensive champion, especially on a map like that one. That's just not how raisy plays the game. No. That's just not raisy's style. You know, he uses Clutch and he uses the tools available to transform the way he looks at it, and it's just crazy aggression. Some of the most aggressive play in the entire game, I think, when you see him use Clutch like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the special things about raisy, though. He can just turn his playstyle around so quickly. People sometimes think of him as a super passive player, but he only does that when he knows it's the right thing to do. Other than that, he can play so aggressively that basically no one can keep up with that level and speed of play.
You know, I wonder if that was a spectator thing that we saw earlier on, because when we looked at it from CNZ's point of view, it was just a normal frag.
Yeah.
So, you know, potentially that was just a spectator thing that caused it to look a little bit funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Moving on. Interesting game, a lot of frags.
A lot more frags than you would expect on Blood Run.
Oh yeah, 22 frags in the end, 23. That's a lot. I love how raisy just stops for a moment to be like, oh, Mega just spawned, let me collect this. And then go right back on the chase through the teleporter.
But there's just so much aggression in these frags that you can see here. It's a matter of raisy. He kind of can play passive when he wants to, but when he knows the time is available to go in. And it wasn't always the right time. This was a bit of a disastrous frag for him. Because he just needed a little bit of extra damage. It was 14 HP that CNZ had survived with. And he decided to drop down to chase it and just missed the rockets. The idea was there, it was just the execution wasn't. But there were a couple of these very tricky confirmed. This was so nearly a perforation. So many of these frags in the moment where they were only a couple between each other. Who knows how much of an impact they would have made if they just went the other way. But yeah, that's the master of hindsight, isn't it? You know, shoulda, woulda, coulda. But what we did get was a much more high-octane Blood Run than I think we're used to seeing, for sure.
Yeah, definitely doesn't happen very frequently. Blood Run, one of the most defensive maps in the entire game once you get the lead, or at least a bit more than one frag. Although, if you're Dewey, you can make do with just one frag, but that's him, of course. And then people just tend to backpedal a bit. They tend to gape into control of that top room, the secret room where we've got that small armor, and play a very defensive game until the end. But raisy was absolutely not up for anything like that, and it seems like CNZ wasn't either. Although he did play on the back foot, trying to catch up with raisy for most of the game.
Well, normally people were able to ban out the clutch, but raisy having the advantage of saying, hang on a minute, I get to ban and pick. Happy days. A lesson was learned today, but now we're going into corrupted... No, that's not. I'm super confused now.
I'm a little confused myself. I thought we were about to jump into the game, but welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Quake Pro League. This is the 5th week, if I'm not mistaken, and we are just about to get into the second map between CNZ and raisy. raisy having taken map 1 on Blood Run convincingly by using his clutch.
Now, I think I know what happened, but I'm going to keep it to myself because I don't want to be wrong. You know how it is. But yeah, so now we're going into map number 2. raisy, he's in one of those positions where he just wants as many points as possible. Yeah. You know, raisy is never satisfied with anything that's not first. And as high as he can be on the leaderboard. At the very least, he wants to try and get as high as he can on the EU and CIS one. You know, it's just the nature of the two different territories. Okay, yes, that's what I thought. We're restarting and going into Awoken. I was like, I'm sure I saw that a little bit.
It showed Corrupted Keep.
I was wrong once already, but I didn't want to dedicate just in case. But I'm glad I was right. This one time, I'm glad I was right.
Yeah, but we're just restarting the map real quick, and we'll be jumping into game very shortly.
We will. But Awoken,
Yep.
another map that raisy is quite efficient in.
Yeah.
You know, they're kind of maybe it's a Maestro map, right? You know,
Who knows?
Wenger and raisy. Every time you watch them, the two of them collectively play, but
They both
it's
love it.
different reasons though. For raisy, it's if there is any way he can trap you on spawn, raisy's one of the first players that will learn it and do it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was always the way. And Awoken has a lot of locations where you can super trap somebody and make it difficult for them. That raisy is not afraid to just enforce as fast as possible. Like, it's in the game, it's there to be used, and he's not. Oh, that's cute.
What?
That is. nothing CNZ is able to do here, because he doesn't know where these totems are.
And his movement, too, is sublime. These little jumps that raisy
the missed rail, that's an opening.
Yeah, that's an opening, absolutely. CNZ, is he going to rocket jump up? He is, but he's going to miss
the
the jump. Second try, he's going to get pushed right back.
I think it was too much of an ask to expect raisy to not wait for the next one, though.
Yeah.
But at this point, CNZ, he's so far behind, he has to try. He has to give it a good go, but the mobile Mega is on deck, ready to roll. Oh, that's one down. And it's no, that's gone. That's definitely dead. Oh my. But 10 frags to go, Flea.
Yeah, that's a lot to catch up in less than 3 minutes of game time to work with.
I guarantee so many people are going to be stealing these totems now.
Yeah.
I promise.
Absolutely.
I feel like this champion has existed for so long, yet the competitive scene still finds new ways to amaze us with just how creative they are with not only where they can place the totems, but how they can make themselves get them too.
And a lot of them have actually been removed from the game. Some of the most well-known spots have been removed from the game.
I'm sure these totem placements were fun while they lasted.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. You guys are watching history in the making.
Absolutely, and right now, raisy is just right underneath CNZ. He's just slowly walking there. His opponent has no clue that he's there, and raisy, even though this is essentially no longer possible for CNZ to make a comeback happen, raisy still doesn't want to give up any more frags than he needs to. He's even going to add some more to it if this goes the way he wants it to. There we go. 26 points of health and some more health. Why not?
Trying to get himself the heavy as well, just to maintain. And it's the wonderful locations, actually, because it means that if you want basically a mega's worth of health, you don't need to overextend anymore. He did this when he had a significant lead to begin with, and now you can essentially control and just guard the heavy, and you have a lot of health at your disposal. So if CNZ wants to push forward and take that heavy off of raisy, on top of the fact that raisy's hitting all these really nice shots in the first place, you have to face him at beyond full stack every time. It's the only way. And now he can just top himself up. You now got hit a second rail and then some. Like, it's a perfect strategy, and I honestly do not know what CNZ can do. I mean, even before the time limit.
There we go. Catching raisy by surprise. I feel bad for not having said more insightful things this game, but this has just been such a roller coaster that has been dominated by these totem placements. I mean, what do you do when you're CNZ? At this point, clearly, it's already too far gone. But if we think back a few more minutes, what could he have done differently? You're just constantly up against someone who has that much health to work with all the time.
It was a matter of the moment raisy had those 2 totem locations down and he dug his heels in, CNZ rarely had the stack or the means to make the fight, because he would never go into a fight with more stack than raisy, and raisy always had the angles ready to go. Yeah. So on top of all this, he was hitting the rails at the same time, constantly hitting these rails. So when the fight broke out, not only was it there, yeah, he's just waiting for it patiently, setting it up. The only piece of insight could have been potentially CNZ thinking, why is raisy hanging around here? What is going on? It's fair to assume that CNZ had an inkling that something was going on.
Amount of damage healed right now, or amount of health
let's have a look.
Healed. Let's have a look. Where is it? HP healed, raisy. Where is it? 1,800. That's really not all that much if you look at how much CNZ had done. I was expecting like an absolute ton, but okay. But yeah, even if you look at the rest, raisy 41% LG, 64% rail?
I mean,
what?
If there's anything we can use to really describe that, is that when it's crazy that raisy can still show us that you have to expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't a lot of analysis going on in that map, because you could see what was going on.
Yeah.
You could totally see what was causing CND so much trouble, which was this idea that he fortified early on, the totems were placed, and then every time raisy needed it, he gave himself essentially a mega worth of health. And he controlled the heavy, so he had max stack way more often than usual. Yeah. Way more often than usual. And it all came off the back of an early lead like this one. You know, he did concede some frags early on, but it wasn't enough for CNZ to really establish. And once raisy had the lead, he was able to kind of set up shop, control the half of the map where he had a rocket and a rail, which was kind of all he needed, He got the cells when necessary, but most of the time he picked up his ammo by killing CNZ and then just collecting the LG off him. So who needs to go over the other side of the map when you're that fortified and you've got all the weapons you need and you have a stack way more often than you should?
And it's definitely true that raisy favored the heavy because, of course, he's got more health that he knows what to do with, right? But the armor, of course, is not something that he can just generate. So clearly, he will be focusing on the armor instead and just keep popping out those megas and keep healing himself up every single time. And that must have been so frustrating for CNZ because there were situations like even at the very end.
He's going to watch this back, I'm sure of it.
Raisy is like, he's railable. He's like, okay, I'm railable. Let me take one step over here, throw down my totem, and up, I can just take another fight. And then CNZ ends up going down. This was a bizarre match. I can't put it any other way.
Galena is still to this day one of the most creative champions in the entire game.
Yeah.
Because the totems have pretty much always operated that way in terms of being able to throw them and position them. It's always been around, but even now, no matter how many different totems are adjusted, obviously sometimes the maps get adjusted where it's not as possible as it used to be. Some locations get removed.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to speak for what's going to happen to those locations down the line. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because once everyone knows about them, everyone knows about them. So it's something that you can just look for and expect. But it made a huge difference.
Yeah.
And it's just the mind and creativity that allows that to happen. You have to just understand how the totems work and then put the time in to just look for locations.
I think that a lot of pros are going to be very interested looking at the VOD of this matchup and learning from what raisy is putting on display. But with that being said, we are jumping into the final map. It is raisy, the God Slayer on his home turf, going up against CNZ. Can he bring home the 3-0, or will CNZ be able to finally get himself on the board?
Well, no shenanigans here, as it's going to be Anarchy instead. As said before, though, definite shades of 2017, when Anarchy was running rampant on Corrupted Keep. A little bit of nostalgia for us to end the year, but we're looking at CNZ first, and he has got raisy kind of at arm's reach here. He had that awkward position where he knows where he is, but Anarchy's so quick he can go forward or back, so how do I head them off? Do I even have the time to do it? Am I going to waste time when I could be trying to fight for one of these pickups? Up next, it is going to be the heavy spawning here.
And look at that stack on CNZ, basically as high as it'll go, 175 for a moment there. And raisy, by default, playing a light champion will be squishier than his opponent, just won't have the same kind of starting stack, so he's got to work extra hard to keep himself in fighting shape. And that might be the edge that CNZ needs to finally win a map of his own. So far, not that many engagements left. I feel like there's been like 100 damage exchanged, maybe?
It looks like raisy has been spending a lot of this map trying to just avoid giving CNZ an angle for damage. And the moment a fight breaks out, it kind of looks like it's more on raisy's terms. You know, when we're looking at CNZ, he's been on the chase the entire time, but now look who's come off worse in the exchange.
Yeah. Oh, that's a nice directo, but with 1
dead.
point of health, what can he do? Yeah.
Die hard and then die harder.
Doesn't even show his face anymore, but raisy will still get himself that first frag. LG versus machine gun, that's something that rarely tends to go well, but that heavy, that's going to make raisy think twice. He's gonna back away.
There's a really nice divide in between the mega and the heavy right here, so if someone's able to maintain a nice level of flow, they can kind of just run the cycle on these items. But CNZ, shout out to the ice gun.
Yeah,
I forgot the official name for it.
Such a joy to see in action. Raisy, super aggressive, gets pushed back. Luckily for him, evades the lava.
But now raisy's going to have perfect timing on both of them. CNZ just trying to escape, but he's fresh off the spawn. There's nothing to survive, but a really valiant attempt, to be honest.
Yeah.
Almost had raisy's number there, and that would have been an avenue to, at the very least, just reset the situation. Wasn't meant to be. He's going to get his hands on a rocket launcher, though. As you can see, rockets are flying all over the place. Now, damage on the machine gun. Not enough for raisy to be comfortable, though. Now he's going to back off. Plan B. It's going to be the heavy. No damage dealt, though, with the Pika. Pika's going to be down for a while now. Those small health bubbles, CNZ. Too risky to fight for them. And raisy, ooh. Going to double back up and grab one of those.
I feel like this might be some sort of a tipping point where we can really see raisy start to get into control, especially when he gets this frag. Right now it's going to be really difficult for CNZ because raisy denying some of the small items as well. Here we go, catching his opponent off guard, but he might lose out on heavy. Will it even matter? I don't even think so.
raisy definitely
Wrong
didn't.
weapon though. Wrong weapon. Shoddy would have finished his opponent off instantly. CNZ is just crouching. He knows it's over. He knows it's what?
He's on 1 HP
That's 1
again.
HP. That is literally 1 point of health that he manages to get out of the room. That's 2 points of health.
It's just beneficial for raisy though, because how much now is CNZ behind while raisy's continuing to run the items, and CNZ can't take a fight here.
Yeah,
he can't just give it up either. So there's a lot of time being wasted that is just beneficial for raisy. And now we can just pepper him down with machine gun and take this fight that he was trying to take, 30 seconds ago. Finally tick it off.
You can very well make the argument that when you've got a large enough lead, it's more beneficial to keep your opponent at 1 point of health, meaning that he just can't absolutely do nothing other than killing him, which means he will respawn with 125 points of health, some armor to work with, but if you keep him that low, then all he can ever do is look for resources. And that will cost you so much time that it can absolutely work out really well when you're in the lead.
Confident that the Pika can't turn around in time, so he doesn't even look back when it flies past his head. About to hit that 5-minute warning. CNZ just cannot get a single footing against raisy. Just utter destruction. Oh, come on, raisy! Come on, raisy. We're just trying to celebrate Christmas, dude.
We saw it a few times in his highlight reel, but raisy likes the gauntlet and he knows how to work it too, and now things are really starting to snowball. And this is something that you see quite often on this map, because it's such a small map, there's no railgun, there's nothing you can really do to just do that consistent damage from a distance without taking any yourself.
Ooh. Almost committed suicide.
Yeah, but now CNZ, again, that's 1 point of health.
Oh, and he swoops in and takes the mega.
How did that work?
That must have been on the frame before he took damage. He collected it. That's the only explanation.
Should have been. Wow.
raisy just having a little bit of fun at this point, to be honest.
Looks like it.
But it's down to movement and perfect timing, ultimately. He's denying everything he needs to deny. Whenever one of these major items spawns, raisy's in the perfect position first. CNZ feels probably obliged to try and run in and take it, so he can't just give it up for free. Like right now, CNZ's like, well, I can concede it, but what benefit would that be? I'm already 8-0 down, and then if he just takes this and then kills me anyway, what's the point?
This is desperation. Oh, and especially when the rockets like that are gonna be hitting you in the face.
Look. Go on, raisy, do it. Oh, never mind.
You're the one who was telling him to be polite, celebrate Christmas, and now you're just cheering on for bad manners and BM live on stream. Catch up.
No mercy. No, you'll get no mercy for Christmas.
Yeah.
Wait, that sentence had a different meaning a few years ago, but you know.
Either way, 10-0 for Maestro Raisy.
Diggity dog. Oh dear.
What can CNC do?
Die.
Yeah.
But I mean, so far it's just what Raisy's been able to enforce. Again, it's an early lead, and it's this constant, the fact that the delay existed between Heavy and Mega at the same time, that at no point has this cycle really ever been broken. So Raisy's just flying around the map and just running the loop every time CNZ's sticking around, because he's trying to fight for it to take this momentum away. He's dying for his troubles, and this cycle it just continues over and over and over again. I'd be surprised if CNZ even is able to break that cycle. Because he's hanging around Heavy now. Like, he's trying to make something happen. Like, maybe he's going to go to Heavy, maybe it's going to spawn a bit early, but no. Raisy has the lock on both.
Yeah. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of similarities with Rafa in this game when we look at Raisy. Just the early leads, calm and collected, and then he just runs away with it and gives zero opportunities, zero openings to his opponents to do anything at all.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely dead right there.
I feel like Raisy's been waiting on that. because he's had a few opportunities and he's tried, but it hasn't always or quite worked out. But this time he is going to get the kill on Strog while he's peekering.
And his aim has been immaculate too.
Oh, yeah.
We've not even touched on his LG, but it's just been destruction every time. The damage is insane. SSG misses the shot, actually. Rare footage of raisy missing 2 shots. This might be the opening, purely just because he didn't have the shotgun, but the LG to save the day.
It was that little ledge that CNZ was behind that made it so that raisy could only do tiny bits of damage by hitting him on the head with like a small segment of the pellets that the shotgun shoots.
I think mostly missed.
He also did miss, but the ledge didn't make it easier.
No, slip on the ice. Oh, never mind. Oh, he got a hoverboard. Ah, he's cheating.
Yeah,
he's hoverboarding over the ice. Oh,
just pushed through the window. This is... Are we heading for a 20 frag game catch-up?
Very likely at this pace, and we've got plenty of time left for it to happen. 2 more frags in like just over a minute, and a terrible spawn for CNZ. You know, just getting caught off the mark near Rocket. Oh, another terrible. From one bad spawn to another. Poor old CNZ. I feel like he just has not been allowed to play this entire map.
Yeah.
Raisy's keep. What are you doing in my house? Get out of my house. Don't bring your dog into my house.
That's what I was saying at the start. This is such a map where once you get the lead, you can run away with it, and you can just bully your opponent over and over. There's no rail. There's not that much to work with for them.
Oh my god.
And so you can just, when you reach the spawn, look, he's going to go over to nail gun. There we go. See? CNZ spawns over at nail gun. A little too slow, but it will still work out.
Oh my word.
22 frags for raisy already. This is nasty. raisy, leave him be. He's done for. He's done for. Stop kicking him while he's down.
He's already dead. More. I mean, dare I say this is probably the most dominant map of Stage 2 we've had so far.
Yeah.
I think the most dominant map of Stage 1 was the very first week, Sparty versus Garpy. Over 30 frags were dropped on Molten Falls, but this just felt like a different beast to me. Less frags, but just at no point did it even seem like CND remotely had a chance here.
Yeah.
And the nice festive color scheme on all 3 champions. Good guy raisy letting us celebrate the Christmas spirit.
Actually seeing a decent amount of 3-0s today. This is the 3rd 3-0 we're getting in a row, and then our second match of the day was also a 3-0. So this is the 4th 3-0 game we've seen, and that happens relatively rarely. But of course, in a round-robin format, the way we have it now, that's just more likely to happen over time.
It's going to happen where there are some players where it just goes that way.
Yeah.
CNZ, it's unfortunate that it was a 3-0, but that said, he was against raisy, and raisy has just been a dominant force in Quake Champions since the game first became competitive. You know, since this guy very first became in the scene at all. He was causing some major upsets in the bracket, and I still remember to this day the chit chat of who is this guy? Who the hell is this random dude that's just rocked up and is beating all these notable players? Like, there's got to be an explanation for this. And then we watch him play on LAN, and it's like,
he's mad skilled.
He's a god.
That's
what the hell?
That's the explanation of that. raisy, my boy, he's mad skilled. He knows how to play, and clearly he's putting it on display for all to see. A CNZ is just powerless. Powerless. And look at the gauntlet again.
The moment that cycle began, where raisy had perfect timing of both items, and the fact, obviously, Anarchy always helps for that, because the speed is insane, the movement is absolutely beneficial there, the injection to get yourself out of dodge, or get a speed boost if you want. And then the small account of fantastic aim. The LG and the super shotgun specifically were just absolutely devastating today. And when you combine all of those things, put most players on the planet against a raisy playing that good on that map, and dare I say the results would go the same quite consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. CNZ, what could he take away from this? He's got some time to reflect. We've mentioned it earlier, the holidays, they're a time to spend time with your family, but also, of course, think about how to improve at Quake. I think like that's what everyone does over the holiday season. And CNZ, he did go down pretty heavily, but of course it was against none other than raisy after having a pretty good few matches during the rest of Stage 2, so he shouldn't be feeling too bad. But just, reset, study a little bit, look at what might have gone wrong in the VOD, try to arm yourself against sneaky Galena totems, because that's a match to remember.
That was the turning point for me. Just displaying some wonderful tech on stream. I'm never going to say no about that, but raisy gave us a piece of eye candy at the very end. I do feel for CNZ that he had to suffer at our
could have happened to everyone,
benefit.
right? I don't think a single pro player would have been able to stand up to that. This could have happened to Kilson, this could have happened to Cooler, this could have happened to Wenger, it could have happened to anyone. Unfortunately for CNZ, it happens to him.
Pour one out. It's the good time for it. But either way, that is going to be our 7th series of the day, and we have our 8th and final matchup. Cygib versus Dahang. Make sure you share out the stream to your mates if they love FPS, if they love competitive games. This is going to be one hell of a match, and make sure you follow Quake Champions or Quake on Twitter as well for the one-stop shop for all things competitive Quake Champions related. We're going to go for a quick break. Don't go anywhere because our final series of the night will be back after this.